At the time 7:01, I'd like to call to order the June 16th, 2026 meeting of the Board of Trustees. Macy, can you take roll for us?
Mayor Pro Tem Miller,
I am here.
Trustee Donahue, Trustee Giblin,
I'm here.
Trustee Jocelyn,
Here.
and Trustee Larson.
Here.
Thank you. I'd like to note for the record that Mayor Sterling and Trustee Kennedy are absent this evening.
Any questions on the consent agenda?
Oh, sorry, I did have one. Is the applicant present or?
Which one, Billy?
From the packet, I only saw one, Bill Reno.
No, I
I'm
don't see
sorry,
him
for the
online and there's
PC
no one
for
in
the
the room.
PC appointment. Okay,
No, not
then
present.
I have no questions for him. All right, perfect. Thanks.
All right, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second,
Mayor Pro Tem Miller,
Yes.
Trustee Larson,
Yes.
Trustee Jocelyn,
Yes.
Trustee Giblin,
yes.
Trustee Donahue. Thank you. Motion's approved.
I'm glad somebody caught that. Okay, staff reports. John?
Sorry, one moment. I apologize.
Yeah, no
Having a
problem.
little technical difficulty. Mayor and trustees, you have my staff reports and the staff reports from the town. If you have questions, I'm happy to answer them.
I saw you had something in your staff report about the IGA and for fire, but we'll get to that later.
Yes, sir.
Okay. If there's no questions on staff reports, we'll move on to the trustees. I'll go first since. Oh, okay, excellent.
This is just me being new. Why were the PIF fees so much lower than expected?
We budget based on what we anticipate in like kind of looking at new trends, and we haven't had them yet. We also have a large PIF fee that needs to be paid at certificate of occupancy, and that hasn't happened yet, but it will this year, and that'll kind of balance it out a little bit.
Okay, all right, thanks.
Is that for the child care center or is that a different one?
Yes.
All right. Any further questions on the staff reports? Okay. I have nothing to report. We have not had a ProSab meeting and there has been too many other things in flux to have much of anything else going on. So we'll move on to Trustee Giblin. Billy, you got anything for us?
No, BZA hasn't met and Peak to Peak hasn't met the last few weeks. That's nothing to report on that front.
In keeping with things quiet, Trustee Larson?
Nothing report. DDA had a meeting and canceled due to lack of quorum.
Trustee Jocelyn?
I have nothing to report.
We're on a roll. Trustee Donahue?
Sort of. I met with Cassie
Oh,
with
cool.
SAB and discuss the possibility of me being the liaison. And I haven't been officially given that role, but and I don't know how that goes.
I think we
You did give it
I
to me.
think we foisted it onto you.
Okay, well, I'm proceeding accordingly. Okay, that's my only report.
Well done.
Just, I mean, Topher, do you want to be a liaison to the SAB?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, and for what it's worth, we're gonna do a little reassessment of just the boards in general, so we might be in a position of reshuffling in the next 6 months or so. So,
I'll add, she was very excited about you, so.
that's great.
Oh, no.
Okay. So our first action item is for the SRU for the vault, and because this is a quasi judicial hearing, we have to follow the rules. So on the agenda this evening is a public hearing on a special review use application pursuant to Article 3, Chapter 16 of the Netherlands Municipal Code. Before I begin, we'll briefly explain the hearing process. First, staff will present the report. Board may ask clarifying questions afterwards. Then the applicant will present, and the board may again ask clarifying questions. The floor will then be open for public testimony. Applicant may respond to public comment if permitted, and then the board will deliberate and take action. Public hearing is now open to consider special review use application for outdoor commercial activity associated with the vault.
Are you ready for me?
Staff, you want to
Yeah.
roll it off, Brittany?
Absolutely. So the purpose of this tonight is considered an SRU application for outdoor commercial activity associated with the vault located at 26 South Highway 119. The applicant is Snyder Street Commercial LLC is requesting approval of the SRU to allow outdoor patio use as a shared commercial space for multiple tenants at the vault. The property owner has provided proof of ownership for the subject property. The property is located in General Commercial Zone District under Section 16-32C, outdoor sales, eating and drinking, or other outdoor commercial activities or establishments. Use requires a special review use permit in general commercial. The Vault is a multi-tenant commercial development consisting of 6 locally owned operated businesses. The proposed outdoor space is intended to function as a common area, supporting a range of uses, including food and beverage service, small-scale retail, informational booths, and occasional live acoustic music. The patio is divided into 2 general areas, a fenced north portion designated for food and beverage services by a brewery tenant, and an open southern portion intended for rotating pop-up retail and community-oriented business activities. There will be no structural changes or site modifications proposed to this application besides correct signage and things like that. I have put the site map of the property on this right here. So I'm going to run through word for word this analysis so you all have it. Under Netherlands Municipal Code Section 16-55, SRU application shall be approved only if the Board of Trustees finds the application to meet the following criteria. 1, the application is eligible for a special review under 16-32. The proposed outdoor commercial use is located within general commercial zoning district, where such as may be permitted through special review use process. The application is therefore eligible under this 16-32. 2, the use is generally compatible with adjacent land uses. The subject property is located within a commercial area surrounded by similar uses. The proposed patio use supports existing commercial activity and is consistent with the character of the neighborhood. Staff finds the use to be generally compatible with the adjacent land uses. 3, the application meets all requirements of Section 16-52 and minimizes adverse impacts. The proposal does not include new instruction or site alterations. The outdoor use is expected to generate minimal additional noise or visual impacts. The applicant will apply for a noise variance if there is a need. There won't be a high result in traffic or parking demand. And they have done a couple of events so far where they have kind of tell people where to park. And then operate within an existing approved business hours. Additionally, the site is accessible via public transit and walkable from the sounding or surrounding areas, further reducing those potential impacts. For the uses consistent with the comprehensive plan, the proposed use aligns with the Netherlands Comprehensive Plan by supporting a diversified and sustainable local economy, encouraging infill use of existing commercial properties, promoting locally owned businesses and employment opportunities. The application is also consistent with the Vision Netherlands 2030 goals related to economic vitality and maintaining community character through appropriately sited commercial activity. 5, the town has the capacity to serve the proposed use with water, sewer, and fire and police protection. The site is an existing developed commercial property currently served by public utilities and emergency services. The proposed outdoor area use is an accessory expansion of the existing operation and is not expected to significantly increase any service demands. The questions before you today are, do you recommend approval of the SRU? Or do you recommend imposing any conditions on this application? I did forget to add in there, the Planning Commission did recommend approval on May 20th, 2026. I've listed some alternatives below in proposed motion. Staff is recommended based on the information available and the review of conduct under Netherlands Municipal Code 16-55 that the application generally satisfies the applicable criteria and supports approval of the use. Staff has not identified specific conditions at this time, but refers to the board regarding whether any additional conditions should be added. That's all I have.
Great. Thank you, Britt. Does the board have any clarifying questions specifically related to the staff presentation? Okay. All right. And is the applicant present? All right. You may come up, state your name and address for the record, and indicate whether you are represented by an attorney, and if so, whether you have an attorney present. Oh. Yeah.
Alexandra Betters. My address is 37 Skyview Drive. I do not have an attorney.
Okay.
And I'm okay.
That's great.
Good.
And so you can present your application, and then we'll have questions.
I mean, everything she said, we don't really have anything other than that.
Okay.
We'd love to be able to put these guys in the brewery outside and be able to enjoy it.
Okay. Any questions for the applicant from the trustees?
Just to be clear, so this is for the kitchen, for the brewery, and I assume it would be for any other tenant who might take that place. We wouldn't have to do this again if it becomes a distillery instead of a brewery, or
That's correct.
Okay.
This use is for, so that was original recommendation. They were coming individually. And so we recommended going for the building as a whole. So if any tenants move out or move in, they'll all have use of this. The tenants will go through a different process to have liquor outside.
Mhm.
And that will go now that this, if this gets approved. But beyond that, everyone will be able to have this use. So right now they're currently pulling special event applications to be able to do the events they have done.
so there will be another round of this for the brewery to be able to take beer
Nope,
out?
this is for
So
all.
You mentioned the alcohol outside.
The
Oh,
brewery already
yes.
has their liquor
They
license.
still already
the
have
kitchen
that.
Does not.
Okay, so
Well,
it's
there's
not a
a-
special.
So they will come before the board is my interpretation, or no? It won't happen.
So the liquor license, we don't have a hearing for liquor licenses anymore, so they probably won't come before the board. But
Administrative.
right now, their premise is only upstairs.
Right.
They have a separate process to apply to use the outdoor space that happens after this SRU is approved, but it's a completely separate licensing process for them.
And we made that administrative, didn't we?
Yeah, I remember your needs and desires of
Yep.
the neighborhood and
Yep,
everything.
yep,
You
yep.
wanted to get rid of that.
Yes, okay.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure we weren't making extra hoops but it sounds like that's a fairly straightforward one.
Okay. Any other questions?
No, just, we have a comment.
Okay.
I just wish this was, no, we're not there yet.
We'll do comments
Okay.
in a minute. Okay. So we'll now open the floor to public testimony. If there's anybody in the room who would like to make a public comment on this topic. Anybody in the room? Yeah, all right. You can come up, state your name and relationship to the town for the record. And you have 3 minutes, but
Okay, well, my name is Lauren Knight. Do I need my address?
just your relationship to town.
I am a co-owner of Kitchen at the Vault and have lived in town for over 30 years. I previously owned Kaleidoscope Food Truck for the last 4.5 years before I started my new chapter with Kitchen at the Vault. And we are just really looking forward to become part of town and bring some life and energy to that area and bridge our town away from, not away, but to enhance it off of First Street. And I hope that we can be a positive part of the community.
Cool. Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Any other public testimony for the SRU application? Anybody online? You can raise your hand or unmute yourself. Okay.
Can you hear me? Sorry.
Oh.
Can you hear me?
Was that?
Yes.
Barb, did you have a?
Yeah. I just wanted to say I'm not sure how well my computer's working because I'm a little remote today.
Yep.
But I wanted to say thank you
Just
to the
wait,
town.
Barb, would you
Yep.
just state your name and relationship to town really quick?
Barbara Hart. I'm the property manager at the Vault, and I've been a resident for 40 years.
Thank you.
I just wanted to say thank you to the town and especially to Britt for working with us during this process. And we look forward to opening up the outdoor space for all continued use of all the businesses inside so that we can contribute more sales tax to the town and really make it an awesome spot for people to come and visit. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Anybody else online? Seeing none. Public comment is now closed. Does the applicant wish to respond to any public testimony? All pretty positive. If there is no further testimony, the public hearing is closed. Before deliberation, does the board have any final clarifying questions for staff or the applicant? Please keep your questions for clarification only. Now is not the time for discussion or debate. Any additional clarifying questions for Britt or the applicant? Okay. Billy, you all good?
Yeah, I mean, I guess the one thing, and I apologize, I'm if I missed this, but so this is year
Sounded
round.
positive.
Can you
Okay.
hear me at all?
The hearing
Yeah,
portion is now closed. The board will move into deliberation. Following deliberation, we can have a motion and any adjustments. So, comments?
Well, I don't know. When I first read this, I always thought it seemed like I wish we could have had this in almost consent agenda. And I realize that's not how this kind of thing needs to be done, but I appreciate town trying to put it under a single thing rather than having every business that got burned out of their building having to go through this process. So good call on that. And hopefully it was as streamlined as it could be for you. Good.
Can I make a comment to that?
Yeah.
Um,
thumbs up.
One thing you could do to make this easier for property owners is you could add this use as a permitted use to your use group table. Outdoor commercial activity could be a use by right rather than have to go through the special review use process. So just something to think about if that's, if you think that as a general matter, outdoor commercial is beneficial for the town and you don't think it needs to go through this process, that's definitely something you could do.
That would start with the planning commission though, right?
Yeah, but you could give guidance to the
Yeah.
planning commission that you'd like them to look at it.
Sounds like a
Definitely
pretty
I'm
good
happy to
idea.
bring that up to them
It's a
at our
good idea.
next meeting.
Cool.
I got a quick question on that. Do you guys hear me now?
Oh,
Billy.
Billy, you're a little broken, but you have some input.
Try it now. I hope you can hear me now. Yeah, it's just that I mean, I don't worry about this as much, but from a noise ordinance point of view is,
Just gonna message him, tell him we.
what's that? Can you hear me? Okay.
Billy, we can't hear you, so we'll hold on for a bit and I'll circle back to you before we wrap up, just in case you find a better connection. Anybody else? Some comments? Thoughts?
I think this is really consistent with what a lot of these businesses were doing previously. I think it makes a lot of sense. I like the access to multimodal use, bus access, parking lot, sidewalks, crosswalks. It's got everything. So I feel like this is consistent with that commercial area. It's kind of a no-brainer for me.
Yeah. One thing I think, you brought up First Street and, the parcel to the north there is town owned piece between there and the creek and it's kind of sitting there doing nothing. I wonder if this would help kind of push us towards extending Chipeta Park up into that space. And then you have some park community space behind there. And it seems like that would integrate really nicely, especially if we could figure out a way to get the walking trail underneath the highway. So I feel like this really pushes us in the right direction to, connect all of the things and it make it easy for people to walk, from First Street over to this space. So wholeheartedly approve.
I just wanted to add to Jennifer's. So currently in neighborhood commercial, central business district and general commercial, it is an SRU anytime someone goes for this use.
Okay, but if we wanted to make it a use by right, we could specify just for the, sorry, what was
You
that?
could just, yeah, we could start talking about having the planning commission look at
Yeah.
zones,
Yeah.
specific zones, maybe looking at these parcels to see where some of them are at. And see if it would be appropriate for all three or maybe just one or.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, I like the ability for public comment, like noise is going to be something that we need to think about in some of those other zones,
Yeah.
but we'll chat more on the planning commission level about those things.
Yeah. Okay. Do we have a motion?
Can I just,
Yeah.
You,
clarify
go
statement
ahead.
related to the motion, and that is that, the resolution was added kind of as a last minute thing for the packet. And so the motion should be to approve the resolution rather than.
Oh,
just
instead of
the-
recommend
Yeah.
approval. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's 2026-20.
I move to approve resolution 2026-20, approving the SRU application associated agreement for the vault because the application meets the criteria under section 16-55.
Second.
Macy?
Can I ask a question
Trustee-
or like a part of discussion? Because I've been trying
Forgot
to
to
say
circle
it,
back to Billy.
Yeah, that's all right. I just found it. I think I got it where you'll hear me. So my one question,
We're
I
not
know
getting
that
anything
there's
out of you,
I know
Billy.
there's, fuck.
Should I go ahead? Okay. Trustee Larson,
Yes.
trustee Jocelyn,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Miller,
Yes.
trustee Donahue,
Yes.
and trustee Giblin. I don't know. Response.
Yes.
Wait for a chirp.
Yes, 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 yes.
Due to connectivity issues, trustee Giblin was unable to participate in the vote. By a vote of 4, motion's approved.
Thank you, Macy. All right, moving on to our next action item. We have the BOT liaison to advisory boards and committees. Last week, we kind of punted on ProSab and Nepodac. And I know it was up to Matt, Trustee Kennedy and I to debate a little bit, which we have not had a chance to really discuss, but given that we'll be kind of reevaluating these in the coming months, I think we have enough to make a decision. So I'll pass this over to John to kind of give us the background beyond that. And
Well, I think you kind of covered it really well. Just to keep it fast, I think just to make sure the public knows what these boards do, the NEPADAC is the Netherlands EcoPass Public Improvement District, and they just govern our agreement with RTD through the board or through the county commissioners. They kind of do the advising work on that. It's a pretty important job. Parks Recreation Open Space Advisory Board does exactly what it says. It looks at our parks, recreation, and open space and helps our parks team kind of actualize the work that we're doing in that space and help make recommendations to the Board of Trustees. I think that I put a motion in my, or I didn't, I don't think, I know I put a motion in my packet. If you guys would like to approve candidates for each of those positions, you could also take a different action if you want to, or you could delay this if you wanted to do that as well.
yeah, I think that we, even though Trustee Kennedy is not here to advocate for his position, I think we kind of came to a understanding that we could move ahead with me staying on ProSab and he would do Nepodac for now, and then we would reevaluate as we take another look at the advisory board positions. So I think that would be a agreeable way to move forward. Do we need to, we still need to go through the whole public comment stuff on all this? Okay, any clarifying questions from the board?
No.
We weren't here, but we made some decisions about people who weren't here to assign them to other boards before, so we're gonna keep that trend. All right, any public comment? Anybody in the room with comment on the advisory board appointments? Nope. Anybody online? Okay. Seeing none, we will bring it back to the board for a little discussion if there is any. Does have anything to say?
Feel like we did a good conversation on this last time.
Yeah, right. So it should be
So
pretty straightforward. Any motions?
I move to approve resolution 2026-21, appointing Matthew Kennedy to the Netherlands EcoPass Public Improvement District Advisory Committee and Mayor Pro Tem Miller to the Parks, Recreation, Open Space Advisory Board.
A second.
All right, Macy?
Trustee Larson,
Yes.
Trustee Jocelyn,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Miller,
Yes.
Trustee Donahue,
Yes.
and Trustee Giblin.
Yes.
I'd like
I
to
Saw
know,
him come off mute there for a second, but
Yes.
I'll just note for the record that Trustee Giblin was unable to participate in this vote due to connectivity issues.
okay. Moving right along.
Can you hear me now?
Now we have our final action item of the evening, which is the emergency ordinance 891 adoption of the building code from 2024, which I believe this is Britt. Again,
Yes.
thank you.
So the agenda item is again, adoption of ordinance number 891, which is adoption of the 2024 international codes by reference. The town of Nederland currently utilizes adopted versions of the international code to regulate construction, development, fire and life safety, energy efficiency, and property maintenance standards within the community. The International Code Council publishes updated code editions on a 3-year cycle to reflect evolving industry standards, technology advancements, safety practices, and sustainability measures. Ordinance number 891 updates the current ICC codes by adopting the 2024 editions of the International Building Code, International Residential Code, International Mechanical Code, International Plumbing Code, International Fuel Gas Code, International Energy Conservation Code, International Property Maintenance Code, Existing Building Code, Fire Code, any specific related code amendments specific to Netherlands, what we've kind of discussed over the past few meetings. So some key provisions in this ordinance is just updating the town's current code is we're in 2018 and we're bumping up to 2024 to try and then continue to make that 3-year cycle. And this will just help with maintaining and clarifying local amendments related to permitting, inspections, appeals, fees, hillside and geological hazard reviews, and enforcement procedures. Incorporating updated energy efficiency requirements, energy ready and solar ready provisions, water conservation standards, and electric vehicle charging infrastructure requirements for new residential construction. Continuing local fire and life safety requirements, including residential fire sprinkler standards, wildfire-related access requirements, and fire protection infrastructure provisions. Updating mechanical, plumbing, field gas, and property maintenance standards to reflect current code requirements and public safety practices. And I will just kind of go on the bottom. So staff is recommending that the Board of Trustees adopt this ordinance as an emergency measure with an immediate effective date to comply with Colorado law requiring municipalities to adopt 2024 International Energy Code by July 1st, 2026. Safe Bill supports this emergency adoption and immediate adoption of the international and related codes is necessary to ensure timely application and enforcement for current life safety standards and to avoid delaying protections important to public health, safety and welfare. So I have everything on there. Again, this was kind of short. We've just, Topher, you haven't been here, but we've discussed this quite in depth. And just want to thank Jennifer, John, Safe Bill, and Andrew Jocelyn for taking the time to go through many, many meetings to get this dialed in. That's all I have for you.
All right. Any clarifying questions?
Obvious one is we can't pass an emergency ordinance. So how much trouble are we going to be in for the fact that we can't pass this tonight?
Well, so this is the reason that it's being passed as an emergency ordinance is the state statute, which relates to energy codes. And the state statute provides that by July 1, municipalities are required to adopt and enforce the 2024 energy code. And so that's the reason it was emergency, is for not just adoption, but that would allow for enforcement. Now, the state statute really doesn't have any penalty provisions in it. It doesn't, it's unclear what would happen if there isn't the enforcement prior to July 1 of 2026. If you don't adopt a code by July 1 of 2026, the 2024 energy code, then if you're adopting codes after July 1, you have to go to the state's model low energy carbon code. And there are more strict energy requirements in that carbon code.
But if we were to pass it tonight in a non-emergency manner, it would take effect 30 days from now. We would have therefore kind of been in compliance with passing it by July 1st, and then it'd just be 2 weeks where we don't know what happens.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, there's a couple of options that you can do. One is you could schedule a special meeting to adopt this as an emergency ordinance prior to July 1. And you have to have 6 of the 7 trustees present.
Just for the public awareness, right? Like, yeah, that's why we need,
Even if Billy's on, we can't.
right, yeah,
Right.
we need 6 out of 7 and we only
Yeah,
have,
because you have
four
to
and a
do
half.
it by 3/4 of the board.
right.
So you could do a special meeting. You could move forward with adoption tonight, not as an emergency ordinance, and just wait and see. I would certainly argue that you are in compliance if anything came up. Maybe there's a grant that wouldn't get because you weren't technically in
But it's only in that
compliance.
2 weeks. 'Cause
Yeah.
once we're in compliance on the
Right.
16th of.
And,
Yes.
and the only gap is the enforcement because the ordinance doesn't go into effect until the 15th.
Right.
Or yeah. And so we wouldn't be able to enforce the
And
code.
there might not even be any permits or anything that would come up
Right,
within
just-
that
yeah, but
time
that
that
would
would
be- that-
require.
Right, that would be the only gap. It's just
Yeah.
like inability to enforce during that time.
Right.
Brett, which would you prefer us do?
I would love to get this passed. I think it's just the comfortability of if you guys are okay with that 2 weeks of no enforcement, and taking that opportunity. I'm also okay if we do a special meeting. If you guys feel more comfortable doing that, I can be available. So for me, we spent a lot of time, a lot of work. I've done a lot of outreach and engagement on this one. I would love to get it passed.
So,
Is there, and
Brett, so is
are you there,
the,
Billy?
is the,
Not
basically-
quite, Billy.
are you fucking kidding me, man? Oh my God.
Yeah, have you tried just calling in on phone? Nope. Maybe he's gonna try it. Britt, maybe either you and or Macy know, like, do we have anything in the pipe that might require code review during that time? Like, is there kind of any projects in the works that you know of?
No, the only thing I can see coming up is like ADU amendments with that CEO grant, and I don't know if that would end up triggering. No? Oh, then no.
Okay.
Nothing. Mm-mm.
That's
So maybe we just,
positive.
let's pass it tonight.
So that means we just need to review adjust the motion language, right?
I would recommend an amendment to, yeah, because it's the ordinance specifically has language about an emergency and that it's being adopted as an emergency ordinance. So the ordinance needs to be revised.
Okay. So we would adjust the motion to approve the ordinance, remove the emergency part and direct staff to amend the ordinance to make it not an emergency.
Right, with a 30-day effective date, 30 days after publication.
All right, let's go. Any other clarifying questions? All right, let's go to quick public comment. Anybody in the room? No? All right, anybody online with a public comment on the building code adoption ordinance? Seeing nobody. Right, and we will hope we can get Trustee Giblin back at some point. And we'll bring it back to the board for any remaining discussion and a amended motion.
Was this controversial? Okay.
Britt,
No, yeah,
Britt,
so I actually did a lot of research with the current builders and developers in town. And originally there was the thought of going to 2021, but in 2024, they made it a little bit more efficient for cost wise and kind of came back on some of those restrictions. We did not have any pushback. Boulder County, I believe, has already went that route as well. And so really this they now aren't going, okay, I'm 2018 here, I'm 2021 here, I'm 2024 here. It's a lot easier when a lot of the cities start lining up on that same building
Great.
code. So
And Britt, you've been working, but this has been going for about a year.
Yes.
Process.
yes, this was quite a long process. My first time doing it. Thankfully, I had people who had already been through it. But yeah, it's really just going to be now, once this passes, I'll kind of be doing the education, updating the website, and then working with Safe Built to make sure all their planners are on board as well, or their reviewers.
Cool. Thank you.
Mhm.
I move to approve ordinance number 891, adopting by reference the 2024 editions of the International Code Council codes and amendments and declaring an emergency with the following changes. With the following changes. Remove the language declaring an emergency. That's just the ordinance name
The ordinance has it in the
and the
text
name.
too.
So I'm with the following changes of removing it from the name, right?
That's fine by me, as long as it's clear by everybody else.
Second.
Trustee Jocelyn,
Yes.
trustee Donahue,
Yes.
trustee Larson,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Miller.
Yes.
And I'd like to know for the record that trustee Giblin lost connection and left the meeting at 7:40 PM. So he's not available to vote, participate in the vote. Or the motion's approved.
Thank you, Macy. Okay, that concludes our action items. We have one discussion item on the fire mitigation IGA with the Netherland Fire Protection District. John, you want to bring
Trustees,
us up to speed?
this is not something you've discussed before. It's for your kind of general discussion to decide if this is something you might want to do. Ned Fire has been working on building a new wildfire crew, and part of that is the ability to do more mitigation work. I met with Chief Schmidtman the other day to talk about, he has an idea where we might be able to create an intergovernmental agreement between us that would allow us to collaboratively apply for grants that will allow that crew to do fire mitigation on behalf of the town. Our staff is trained as sawyers. We work closely with Ned Fire right now. But we have just so few people. The work is a lot. And one of the things about sawyer work now, it's not as easy to have volunteers doing that work as it used to be. And so having more bodies that can be trained and covered under appropriate insurance is a really good idea. And I think that generally the general way this could work is we would identify properties. I put a couple in here that just to think about, Moose Meadows, Wingate, right away, other town managed areas that we kind of would determine as we kind of work through this. And then if grant opportunities come up, which we know the state is going to be trying to push more money towards this in the future, then we would be able to apply and use those funds to kind of have Ned Fire do that work on our behalf. Now, that doesn't mean our crews would stop doing sawyer work. It would just mean that we could do a lot more. And I think in overall, when you think about the math here, it just overall increases our capacity to do fire mitigation work tenfold. And so we're really trying to bring these things to you as a question before we do any work. And really the question here is, are you open to this idea of an IGA that could allow this? We haven't thought about what the actual conditions are, but staff would go back and work with Ned Fire to do that and bring it back to you for approval. And then just if that is the case, is there any direction you'd give us in terms of what you'd like to see from such an agreement that would come to you for approval potentially? And that's all I've got for you. I can answer your questions though if you have any.
I have a question for Attorney Madsen. Is this something that I need to recuse myself from? Okay.
I don't think so, no.
Okay, thank you.
I would actually not want that. I would
Yeah,
value
I just
your
wanna make
participation
sure,
in this one.
That's the quorum.
Oh, yeah, perfect.
Any other clarifying questions?
Can we fast track it?
I do think we could develop this pretty quickly. I think we just want to have a good operating understanding so that everybody's on the same page. You know, there's other pieces too. We have a large chipper and that could be useful, but I think just collaborating in this space the most we can is the best thing. So I think we can do that.
Is there anybody else we could bring into this IGA? Like, are there other agencies that make sense to get involved?
I don't think in this particular effort, but we would want to continue working with Wildfire Partners and the other groups that are doing mitigation work. I think Ned Fire has good relationships with them and we continually try to work with them as well. And if there's opportunities, we could always amend this pretty quickly. I think this being an intergovernmental agreement, we would be the most two logical parties, but then maybe, there's other entities like Boulder County or maybe City of
Yeah,
Boulder or
that
something
was kind of
too.
my question. It would be
But,
Boulder
yeah.
County.
We could certainly ask too and see if they're willing to work with us on it. And we could do that before we kind of finalize because it would create a bigger pool for sure.
Right. And obviously it's a long shot and potentially slows the entire thing down, but the Forest Service also, because we have a couple of parcels that are more or less in town, the one next to Wingate and the one behind the school that are Forest Service property.
Yeah, we can certainly, let's talk to Chief about it. He's got some good relationships in that space.
Okay.
And we'll see what we can do to
Yeah.
make it as collaborative as possible.
Yeah, that would be great if we could have some, even if it's just on paper, but that would at least open the door for us. Okay, any other clarifying questions? Oh, we don't have public comment on this.
I
We
did
just-
put this on discussion just because
Yeah,
it is a
that-
big community concern, so
Yeah,
it is for a public comment too.
yeah. So do we get public comment on this one as well? Yeah, okay. All right.
Yes.
Any public comment? Obviously, we don't have anybody in the room and anybody online. Oh, I see that Trustee Giblin is back. Billy, can you hear us? Or can we hear you?
I hear you.
Dang, so close. We need a text input option. All right. Well, any other public comment? Oh, yeah. Okay. Oh, he messaged. He said he can hear us. He said just continue. Okay. Thanks, Billy. Um, any other public comment on this? Anybody online? Don't see anybody. Okay. Any further discussion? This seems like a great thing. I'd say, yeah, full, like Trustee Donahue said, full speed ahead. Yeah.
Is there just on that direction point, was there anything critical that you'd like to see included in such an agreement, or just give us some latitude to try to figure it out?
The only thing I would say is like some kind of definition of, obviously you can work on things like Wingate, but if there's any way we can expand it to neighborhoods and in private property,
Okay.
that kind of would be helpful. But I know that opens up a can of worms. I just don't know if we can explore that a little.
Definitely.
And then just maybe the right of way stuff, because I know like some of our right of way is like CDOT controlled. I don't think there's any Boulder County right of ways.
I'll tell you, Britt has been working on Excel pretty hard on mitigation work, and they're interested in partnering with us too. They've been she's built a good process for them to do that. So I think there's some opportunities to maybe use the resources they have too. So I think the key is that what you're really saying is a regional effort, and there's a lot of stakeholders who should be engaged.
And but the right of ways, like we have some that like have governmental authority and some that are like Excel that are private. But this would really just cover sort of public entity right of ways.
Yeah, one thing on right of way, we do a lot of tree clearing in that space already because we have to clean ditches and clean sight lines and things like that. And so this might help with that project. Or, we do have some parkland that is adjacent to the highway. So that could be one of the things that happens in this space too. But we can try to define, are you interested in a definition of what that would mean, or more about just thinking through what the scale of the project is?
I think for me, more just what's the scale and, kind of what are the areas that would be eligible to be worked on through this agreement?
Not to put Trustee Jocelyn on the spot, but there's quite a few different kinds of grants that are available through these funds that we might be able to touch. And so it might be that if a grant comes, I would still come to the Board of Trustees for approval. And we might want to give ourselves some flexibility in this IGA to be able to, like, as Trustee Larson said, like adjust if we have an opportunity to private property, then work through that. But I think we can, I think we could design something that would give us that ability.
Cool. Seems like a great idea.
I guess two other thoughts. One is, I guess, convey the sense of urgency to anyone we're reaching out to, that as a town, we feel it's very time. We need to do it really soon in some places for sure. And Secondly, being the thing about what we've observed with some of the other mitigation that's happened here is kind of a recommended retreatment period. So we don't end up with these, and if certain areas are going to be more, maybe experts know better than I do, but as far as whether they are just left, they get cut and then they regrow thicker than they were before. And so somehow addressing that in the way this is communicated and initiated, that if we do cut down certain sections of forest, we're going to have to be proactive mowing. We can't just walk away from them.
And would the kind of like part of this agreement would include like who gets to make the decisions about what gets cut and where and how much? Like, is that
I think on town-owned land, you guys would make the decision. I think what we're trying to do is create a policy framework for that to happen. I think we'd want to use our expert knowledge that we have at Ned Fire. But I think also like if wildfire partners are involved, I think there's a lot of different groups that could be there. We've been trying with our town staff to be taking trainings relative to things like willows and cutting different kinds of trees and how you do that the best way in the right way. And I think that could be, if we build this agreement properly, we can do all of those things. I think we just want to have the relationship. So if there's an opportunity to bring money to a
right?
effort, we can do so within a guideline.
Yeah, that's kind of the main goal, is to like create avenues for funding. And
Yeah, if you look at our CWPP update that we did a couple of years ago, there's a laundry list of things that are high priority, a laundry list. And this is a good way for the town to spread out resources to get our neighbors involved, to knock out some of these projects before we have to apply again for another CWPP and go through this process again. But that CWPP is kind of the basis for getting grant money, and should be a guide for us to prioritize projects in our community. And the ability for us to work with the fire department on this is clutch, because we just don't have enough people to knock out how many things need to get done.
Right.
So
cool. All right. John, do you feel like you have everything you need?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Well, that is all of our agenda items. Do we have any public comment on non-agenda items? Come on up. And yeah, just state your name and your relationship to town. You have 3 minutes and
was already on. My name is Alex Cernacciari, and I've been a resident of Ned for nearly 5 years and an enjoyer of the town and its surrounding open space for 5 years before that. And yeah, I'm sure as the town knows, Boulder County Open Space purchased Teller Ranch about 1 to 2 miles west of the town of Nederland in 2022. For 3 years, nearly 4 years now, there was no issues about accessing this open space. And in the past 2 months, Boulder County Open Space has shut down multiple trails using dangerous signage on trail for two-wheeled users of all types. But they've also seemingly shut it down to hikers as well. Unilaterally, they've provided 2 reasons, one being dangerous, unmaintained, unmarked trails, but they didn't provide any data showing ambulance visits or I believe it's Rocky Mountain Search and Rescue visits to the area to rescue injured outdoors people. And then they provided another reason saying it was a wildlife closure, but again, also provided no data for wildlife closures. So as a resident, I'm worried about more unilateral closures of Boulder County open space. We all enjoy, it's part of the reason why I think a lot of us came up here was the open space. So I would encourage the Board of Trustees to work with Boulder County Open Space to have some sort of town hall or open discussion platform where they can provide a little bit more light and potentially a pathway for Boulder County Open Space and residents to work together to reopen the Teller Ranch space.
great. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And thanks for your patience to sit through here. Okay, any other public comment on non-agenda items?
Hi, this is Teresa
Looks
Robertson
like online,
online.
maybe?
Yep.
Oh, you're
Teresa
muted if
Robertson.
you're,
Teresa Robertson online. Can you hear me?
I can hear you
We
fine,
can
Teresa.
hear, try
Maybe
again, Teresa.
Teresa, can you hear me? Because I can hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you, Billy.
So it sounds like all of us
I wonder
online
if
can hear each other.
it's actually our speaker.
Yes, that is the problem. Apparently.
Well, I'm just saying, like, now we can't hear any of them.
Speak again, Teresa.
Hi there. I've got 3 points.
Oh, there we go. Okay, now we can hear you. We just quickly,
Wonderful. Okay.
will you just quickly restate your name and relationship to town real quick?
Certainly. Sure. Teresa Robertson, 140 East First Street. So resident, I don't know, 27 years this year. Okay, 3 things. Chris Larson knows about the first one, the noise ordinance. Our noise ordinance is consistent with that of Red Rocks. We tried 10 years ago with the help of Chris to get it changed to what other towns have, like Lyons and Lafayette. And then Peter Fiore came in and brought a bunch of concert goers and said we all hated music and threatened to sue the town, and we didn't change our ordinance. So I would love it if we can perhaps change our ordinance so that it's great we have more music, but it also means that many of us are unable to enjoy being sometimes even in the house with the doors closed. It's like 70 decibels inside my house sometimes. So I would love if that can be one of the goals for the council at some point in the next few months. The other things are, I'm a little concerned. Mr. Mitchell's put up surveillance cameras on his properties, which he has a right to do, I guess, on a private property. But I do have some privacy concerns because what's he doing with all that data, and how's it going to be used? And I don't know what I'd like our town to sort of start carving out what our privacy policies might be, or ordinances around cameras like that. And a third concern is data centers. What kind of ordinance are we going to have so that we don't get a data center like they're struggling with down in the Springs by the Garden of the Gods? So those are my three things I'd love for you guys to work on in the next, I don't know, 6 months, 12 months.
All right. Thanks, Teresa.
Thank you. Thanks for everything you guys are doing. Appreciate it.
Okay. Anybody else with some public comment? Non-agenda items? Okay. Okay, other business? I do have one really quick. I know we postponed our strategic goals to give a little more time on the survey. Do we have any update on survey participation or timing for moving that forward?
Yep, that was actually something I was going to ask you. It's looking like we're probably into July by the time we're actually able to kind of talk it through. We have had some engagement, but not as much as I'd love to see on the survey. I'd love to reopen it if we could. I think it requires board direction just to give everybody an opportunity to look at it. I think right now what we could do is open it through maybe July 10th. That would give us some time before the second meeting in July to have that conversation, and so we can present that data. And I think it would just give us an opportunity to keep pushing it out. Britt's been pushing it out on the website and social media, and I think if we can just get some more word of mouth and get a couple more responses. I want to say we have currently from the community about 40 responses, which is pretty good, but it would be better to have more. So yeah. I'd love to do that. We have also had a couple questions about it. I could slightly modify it just to kind of make sure it's as easy as possible to fill out. And that's something we could do. I don't think it would change the results, just like to give a little bit more instruction that there's been some confusion about whether one is the highest score or the lowest score. So I think we could just add a little bit of detail there and push it again.
Well, and that you can drag and move the priorities around.
Yeah.
That took me a while to.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a, it's that survey is doing a lot right now. And I think it's a lot to think about and to go through the comprehensive plan and like align all those different priorities that are in the multimodal plan and the PROST and the sustainability advisory board goals and all of that. So
Yeah.
I could add just a little bit more instruction, like you said, and then we could post it again and try to keep, and obviously, if you guys could help evangelize this survey to make sure that people fill it out, that'd be super helpful, because I think the more people respond, the better
Yeah.
your work will be.
Yeah, for sure. What do you need from us to?
I just
give
looking
you
for a nod on
give
it.
you a
If we,
nod?
that would be enough.
I'd say reopen it.
Yeah.
Look at instruction, and if there's any way of, I've had some feedback too, folks saying it was difficult to follow, or, yeah, I think the instructions would be helpful.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd like to see it
Great.
reopen.
Or nods?
Yeah.
Yes, and else,
Okay.
yeah, someone told me they were trying to
Five
fill it out.
5
Five
nods. All right. Excellent. Any other motions?
I move to adjourn.
Excellent.
Second.
Trustee Larson,
Yes.
thank you. I was worried.
I was worried.
Trustee Donahue,
Yes.
trustee Jocelyn,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Miller,
Yes.
and not sure, but trustee Giblin, are you there?
Yes.
It looks like
mute.
you tried to respond, but due to connectivity issues, we're unable to hear you. And so I'm going to note for the record that you're unable to participate in this vote. And the meeting is adjourned at 8:02 PM. Thank you.
Almost.